All right, excellent. So thank you again, everyone, for joining me today. This is the frequently asked questions for hair pulling, and we've been doing this pretty regularly, about every other month or so, and it's been going really great. So I'm glad that we can offer this for you. And my name is Laura Santner. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and I've been working with BFRBs a really long time. So I'd like to think that I can answer lots and lots of questions. So feel free, ask away, and I'll do the best that I can. So I'm going to go over some of the most commonly asked questions first, and then the pre-submitted questions, and then your live questions. So just type in that Q&A box, and I will get to those shortly. Okay, we're going to be going for about an hour, just depending on the amount of questions. Okay, so just sit back, relax, maybe have some water or some tea or hot chocolate with you, and a fidget. Make sure you have a fidget. See, I got this one today, which is pretty silly, and I like the zigzags on it, which makes it really bumpy and appealing. And yes, sometimes it breaks off. So I have that. And just a reminder, I also have a little sticker to show you. I don't know if it's backwards or not for you, but it says, everything will be okay. Okay, everything will be okay. Um, and as a little bonus, I'm just seeing what's around me at my desk here. I have a little rock that says hope. Okay, nice little reminder. Okay. So, let us go to some of the most commonly asked questions and the pre-submitted questions first. So, what causes hair pulling? This is a very, very common question, right? And it's the answer is actually quite complex, and it's not entirely known, actually. So there needs to be more research. But basically, right now, research is indicating that there is a genetic predisposition. Um, with hair pulling disorders. But in addition to that, there are other factors. So even if it's in your genetics, it doesn't mean that you're going to wind up with a hair pulling disorder. So it's a combination of genetics, but also other factors like hormones, your temperament, age of onset, any potential co-occurring disorders, and different environmental stress factors. Okay. Um, so again, it's possible for one of these things to happen and then you don't get a hair pulling disorder. It just happens to be this like magic combination. Okay. Um, okay, perfect. Yeah, I see questions starting to come in. I will get to your questions. Why is this not working? Okay, well, Box is not minimizing. Oh, maybe I'll exit that. Okay, I will get to thank you for your question. If questions are coming up as well as I'm going over the commonly asked questions and the pre-submitted questions, feel free to write in there. Okay, and we'll get to those shortly. Um, what kind of therapist do I look for? Right. So first, you want a therapist that you're comfortable with, who you like and who you feel good with. Okay. So I would say that's the number one factor, that you want to make sure you're connecting with your therapist. Next, you do want to make sure that they are trained and knowledgeable about BFRBs and hair pulling. So you could look for trained therapists, for example, on TrichStop.com. You could look for them on bfrb.org. Just an FYI, bfrb.org or the TLC Foundation, they are going to be, that website is going to, maybe by the end of the summer, is going to be no more, and it's going to be under the International OCD Foundation, even though BFRBs are not OCD. But you'll be able to look for trained therapists under the International OCD Federation page. Okay. So what does a trained therapist mean? So you want to look for some keywords in like the modalities that they use. So, for example, you want to see if they mention comprehensive behavioral models, so COMB. That's kind of the number one treatment. And that's combined with HRT, habit reversal training, which is, and then in addition to that, you want to see some DBT in there, dialectical behavioral therapy, and CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. Um, so it's, and of course, just regular like psychodynamic and talking, right? So it's kind of this like combination of things kind of depending on what's going on with you and what your situation is. But those are some of the keywords to look for when you're looking for a trained therapist. Um, hope that answers that. And yes, is this a lifelong struggle? Is it possible to stop? So, unfortunately, this is a chronic disorder. So, what that means is that there is no cure and that it is lifelong. But that does not mean that it's going to always be active and does not mean it's always going to interfere. So, yes, you could reach a point when you don't feel urges or they become dormant, or they're very low and they're very manageable, and they may or may not resurface. Okay, if they do resurface, what that also means is over time you'll have better tools and better knowledge, and you'll be more equipped to handle them, which will help you to feel better and more confident. Okay. What is NAC? Is it helpful? And is there a recommended brand? What is the recommended dose? Um, so NAC is also called N-acetylcysteine, N-acetylcysteine. And so right now that is the only FDA approved amino acid supplement. Okay, so it is not a medication, it's an amino acid supplement. Um, and it's showing the most promise, which is exciting. So when they did research, they researched the brand Swanson. So, that brand tends to be recommended just because that was the one that cooperated and shared their data. I also happen to like the brand Now. It's pretty popular and well known. So I would say I would recommend those two top brands, but really anything. And if you try something out and decide and it doesn't work for you or you don't like it, try a different brand before giving up. Okay. So the dosaging can vary. Um, I do recommend working with a doctor ideally. So typically the starting dose is 1200 milligrams. So they come in 600 milligram tablets. So you can take them twice a day. So like 600 twice a day and taking it um, before a time when maybe you have higher urges. So I do recommend spreading it out. So, for example, like 600 milligrams in the morning and 600 milligrams in the evening. So they did study up to 2400 milligrams. So again, you could take 1200 milligrams in the morning and 1200 milligrams in the evening. Okay, so you can spread it out. Um, there's evidence that shows that it's shorter lasting, so that's why it's good to spread it out. So it might only stay in the system for a shorter period of time. So that's why it can be helpful to take it before a period when you're expecting to have a higher stress situation or higher urges. Okay. Um, oh yeah. So how does NAC work? So I'm not a scientist, so the best that I can explain it is it's basically it works by modulating the glutamate levels in the brain, and it provides antioxidant properties. So, by regulating these pathways, NAC can help reduce pulling and help reduce urges. So, it basically like restores the brain's glutamate balance. So there's research that shows that whatever is going on with urges is related to glutamate. Okay. Um, Other medications. FYI, there are no other medications, but the next one I would say that has the most promise is called memantine. And memantine is like an Alzheimer's medication, but it also regulates the glutamate and focuses on glutamate levels. So that one is kind of the next in line to be more researched and is promising. Okay. Are there common triggers I can avoid, and what can I do to manage urges? So there are lots and lots of triggers, lots and lots and lots, unfortunately. So I would actually first suggest tracking or doing some self-monitoring, and that will help you to learn more about your patterns and figure out what your triggers are and what your situations and triggers can be sensory triggers, um, how things like look or feel, for example, cognitive triggers, things that you're thinking about, affective triggers, including how you're feeling, motor triggers, meaning kind of your body position, actually. And your kind of, if you're like this, or might all of a sudden trigger an urge because your hand is right there, right? Um, and place, so your environment, where you are, like the couch, bathroom, bed, right? So those are some common things to look for when you're tracking and monitoring sensory, cognitive, affect, motor, place, SCAMP. Is that abbreviation? Yeah. Um, but overall, it's also when you're like overstimulated and understimulated. So yes, when you're overwhelmed or anxious is an example of being overstimulated. Being bored is an example of being understimulated. So you want to kind of pay attention to that. Also, being tired is a really big common trigger. Yeah, I'm seeing some thumbs up. So be extra mindful if you're noticing some of those things. Okay. Okay, yes. So, do you have any book recommendations? So, if you want to read more about this, there are lots of books out there. But I have like a little short list. I have a very long list, but I will share the short list of some books that would be really helpful to increase your education, and also some workbooks and things that you can take some action steps. So, I'm just gonna read my list here. Um, so Overcoming Body-Focused Repetitive Behaviors. It's a comprehensive behavioral treatment for hair pulling and skin picking. So that's a really great one, very informational. That's by Charles Mansueto, Sherry Mansfield, and Ruth Gollum. Then we have an oldie but a goodie, Help for Hair Pullers, Understanding and Coping with Trichotillomania. So that's by Nancy Cuthan, Dan Stein, and Gary Christensen. Um, at this point, another little bit older one, but a goodie is Trichotillomania and ACT, Enhanced Behavioral Therapy Approach Workbook. ACT is a great approach, by the way. Also, it's acceptance and commitment therapy. And that's by Douglas Woods and Michael Twohig. Uh, some newer books that are good to check out are the BFRB Recovery Workbook. So that's by Marla Deibler and Renee Renardi. And we have the BFRB Survival Guide, a workbook for overcoming body-focused repetitive behaviors, and that's by Suzanne Mouton Odom, Ruth Gollum, and Charles Mansueto. And then the newest book that like maybe came out like a week or two ago, the BFRB workbook for teens and young adults. So if you are a teen or a young adult, this one is a good one. BFRB workbook for teens and young adults, and that's by Lauren McKinney and Dr. Laura Shakes. Lauren McKinney, by the way, runs pickingme.org. Okay. What are Some goals I can work on in 2026. Yeah, that's a really good thing to think about, especially being in the new year, right? Happy New Year. So, a great goal to consider is to focus on strategies. I really want to emphasize focusing on strategies and trying to be as consistent as possible, which is harder than you may realize. When you work on your strategies, that helps you to better manage urges. So when you work on this goal, it helps you to feel more comfortable and confident with yourself. And it helps to feel like your BFRB is no longer in control, right? And it no longer interferes with your life. So be gentle with yourself. Okay. Don't focus on the goal of stopping, right? Stopping. That is not helpful, right? Whenever someone says just stop, right? That is not helpful. If anything, that makes it worse, right? It brings on more urges. It makes you feel guilty. Um, so when you have this goal of stopping, that kind of contributes to this all or nothing thinking, and puts a lot more pressure on yourself. All right. So, when you have a slip, right, you're going to feel worse about it because, oh, you failed, right? Because you didn't stop. Right. So it's not about that. It's about managing, not stopping. And when you manage and feel good about managing, it actually winds up getting to that goal of stopping, or close to stopping. So I would say really focus on the goal of managing and being kind and gentle with yourself. And that will take you a long way. Okay. How can I hold myself accountable for working on my goals and staying motivated? Yes. So as I mentioned before, self-monitoring or tracking is really helpful to learn about your patterns, but it's also really helpful to help you stay on track. And it's nice, it's a really helpful reminder of, oh yeah, I didn't do a strategy today. Let me do one right now. All right. So it helps to learn about what's going on and to know what's going on with your body, and helps you to be consistent. Right. So tracking is a nice way to hold yourself accountable and being consistent. Um, there are also different tracking apps, and some that are like kind of like games and make it fun and give you like small rewards for small accomplishments. So those can be pretty fun, and helpful. I don't know the names of the specific apps. I did know one and I keep forgetting it, so I have to write it down. But just check it out. Check out the App Store and search around and see what looks good to you. There is an interesting and new trend, of making punch cards. So that could be fun. So, like writing down a goal or a strategy that you want to focus on, and every time you work on it, you punch a hole, and then you give yourself a reward when you fill up the card. Right. So. The reward system is a really helpful strategy. It doesn't matter how old you are, and everyone likes a little reward and a little positive reinforcement. So that helps to stay motivated and to helps you to stay accountable. You can also find a buddy. So it could be another person with Trick, it could be another person with any BFRB, or it could be just anyone working on something of their own, unrelated to BFRBs, right? So anyone working on anything can be like your buddy, and it could be really nice to check in with someone. And it's a great way to offer each other support and encouragement. If that doesn't work or you're not interested in that, I do, or regardless of that, I also recommend joining a support group if it's possible. Ideally, something in your area. If not, virtual is great, and there are a lot of virtual support group options. So that's another way to help hold yourself accountable and stay motivated, because it's a nice check-in, and it's a reminder that you're not alone. Another option is just to join a typing and online community. So, for example, TrichStop has a community page where you can kind of check in or write type and you can respond to each other. So you're struggling, you can type in and people can respond back, or, oh, this worked great, and you can't believe how well you did during this difficult time, and you want to share it. The community page is a great resource. Okay, let's see. I'm 65 years old and I've been pulling my hair out since I was 9 years old, on my head only. I've never met anyone else who does this. I live in a town in Oregon, and I just wish that one day to meet and talk with someone who has what I have. Pretty bad that I've done therapy my whole life and not once met a person like me. Tired of feeling like a freak and being told to just stop. Yeah, so I'm sorry to hear that you felt so isolated and for so long. But please know that you are not alone and you are not a freak. It's actually a lot more common than you realize. It's about like 1 in 20 people. And it's probably even more than that. So it's about like 2% or 2 to 4%. It's a lot of people. So also keep in mind that this is a chronic disorder. So what that means is it's not something you can just stop, right? I hate it when people say just stop. Obviously, if you could stop, you would stop. So that is very much not helpful at all. Okay. But something that could be helpful to help find that connection, um, if you can't find anyone in your area, again, there are lots of different online communities, um, public communities like Facebook groups, Facebook pages, just for example. And yes, now TrichStop has the community page, so that's another really great resource. Um, Again, I do recommend a support group. So if you do not have a support group in your area, join one virtually. So TrichStop has a virtual support group. The TLC Foundation, right, has a virtual support group. BFRB Changemakers has a virtual support group. BFRB UK and Ireland also has a virtual support group. Does not mean you have to live in the UK or Ireland. Sometimes just timing, it just depends on timing, right? So you can kind of see which day and time works best for you. Um, so hopefully some of those options are you are able to explore so that you can feel less alone. Okay. Um, And you're already taking great steps by being here. We have lots of people on the call, but I can't connect everyone, so unfortunately. Um, okay, great. I'm going to now go to, those were the most commonly asked questions and the pre-submitted questions. So I'm going to go right to your live questions here. So first, is there evidence to show benefit of NAC supplement? So yeah, so there has been a good amount of research. As I mentioned, right now NAC and acetylcysteine is the most researched medication. So it's kind of consistently showing that there are benefits to NAC. It is the most promising. So if you just Google NAC and hair pulling, like you'll see the research. Okay, so it's out there and accessible. I've had so many therapists have no idea how to help me. Yeah, and it's so frustrating. Um, you know, there are not as many trained therapists as we would like, but we exist. So again, look us up, look for those keywords. When you're looking for therapists, make sure they know about BFRBs, body focused repetitive behaviors, right? And that is what hair pulling is. So you want to make sure they really know what it is and they are trained. Ask questions to be sure. Okay. Someone who is trained in OCD does not mean that they are knowledgeable and trained in BFRBs. Okay, that's a common misconception. So just wanted to clarify that. Okay. Yeah. So keep looking around, keep looking on some of those excuse me, those resources of lists of trained therapists. Okay. And by the way, all of the therapists on TrichStop are trained, and it's a great resource, and it's very flexible with your schedule. So if you cannot find anyone in your area, um, or a virtual one-to-one, let's say, I mean, consider TrichStop. Let's see. Totally agreed. I have it for 20 years, never recovered, but it is stable now in the last years. Oh, great. I'm glad that you had that experience. Yes. So, that's encouraging, right? It doesn't like 100% go away because it is chronic. But yeah, you can get to a point where you feel comfortable, confident, stable. It's not interfering, not impacting you, and brings you, it's such a relief when that happens and you get to that point. And again, there are ups and downs. So if there are slips, don't worry about it. It's just part of it. Okay, so great. Thank you for sharing. Can you repeat that about the brands and names of NACs? Yep. So the one that cooperated with research um is the Swanson brand, at least the original research. I don't know which brand is people are using for more recent research, but I have to look that up. But the brand Swanson was researched and cooperative with the research, and I've also and have heard good things about the brand Now. Okay, NOW. Oh, can you please share where you got the bumpy string fidget? And also, do you mind sharing where you got your magnetic necklace that pulls apart that I saw? Yeah, another webinar. Hope they're available in Canada. Yeah, so yeah, I have that right here too. This is really old. Um, so I'm not sure where to find this exact one, but there are definitely ones. Oh, look at that. Got some yarn hiding in there. Um, yeah, and here, yeah, so this is cool. This is the magnetic one that this person is referring to, the magnetic necklace. So, for the magnetic necklace, you can just Google magnetic necklace or go on Amazon magnetic necklaces and see what comes up. These are very easy to find, like on Amazon. Okay. Um, Fidgets are a little bit harder because I don't know the exact names. I think it was like zigzag hair or something like that. Um, oh, what I also like this, by the way, is there's like layers. This one is quite old, so as you see, I've like pulled some of the layers apart. But so a great place to look for fidgets is called the Therapy Shop. They have so many fidgets. So what I like to do is you can just scroll and look around and explore the Therapy Shop, because they have a category like for hair pulling. Um, oh, look at that one's kind of stuck. Oh, okay. So they have a category for hair pulling. So they have a lot of really fun options, and then it's great because you can order in bulk, or you can find something there and then search for it somewhere else, like on Amazon, and just kind of, if you just want to get one, find the name there and then search on Amazon. Okay. Yeah, so that's what I would recommend, the Therapy Shop. And I'm sure you'd be able to get it delivered to Canada. What has shown to work? We are seeing a pediatrician next week. I will ask about it. Um, I'm not sure what you are talking about specifically. Maybe you're talking about medication. Um, so if you're talking about medication right now, there is no medication. There is no medication that will work. But NAC, as I mentioned, is right now the most promising amino acid supplement. Um, I'm not sure a pediatrician is going to know much, actually. So just a heads up to be prepared. Um, but yes, you can ask about NAC, and they're a good person just to talk to about medication. Okay. What has worked the most is a combination of like something like NAC and working with a therapist who's knowledgeable and joining a support group, right? And addressing the sensory, cognitive, affect, motor, and place. So it's kind of like doing everything at the same time is what is most helpful. Doing one thing is not going to be helpful. So there is no magic pill, unfortunately. Maybe one day, but not right now. Yes. So is hair pulling often co-presenting with neurodiversity? So yes and no. It can be. It can be a co-occurring disorder. However, just because you are neurodiverse does not mean you are going to have a hair pulling disorder. So they do not necessarily go hand in hand. Um, they are not related. BFRBs kind of stand on their own. So they kind of present often with other co-occurring disorders, but it's not a necessity, right? It can stand on its own. You can have no other disorders. And if you are neurodiverse, it does not mean you are going to also have a BFRB. But yes, you can have both. Okay. For a teenage girl, is it common to have increase in DHEAS and testosterone with this? I don't know what DHEAS is. Maybe you can type it out again or further explain. And testosterone with this, I'm not sure if you're referring to medication or with having a hair pulling disorder. So maybe you can rewrite the question actually, and then I could see if I can answer it. To having, yeah. So maybe just rewrite the question and we'll come back to it. Yeah. So have you found that ADHD medications can be triggering or increase symptoms? Actually, yes. Not all, but yes, that is a common side effect. So ADHD is a common co-occurring disorder with hair pulling. Again, they each stand on their own. So just because you have ADHD does not mean you have hair pulling disorder. Just because you have a hair pulling disorder does not mean that you have ADHD, but it is common to have both. And yeah, some ADHD medications increase urges. So if you are finding that you are on a medication that is increasing your urges and increasing pulling, that means it's not the right dose for you or it's not the right medicine for you. Okay. So there are medications that do not increase your symptoms, but if they are, let your doctor know so you can switch to something else. What age? Yeah, at what age and why does trichotillomania manifest in our lives? So, it can kind of pop up anytime, but the most common age is actually around puberty. It's around like age 13, 14 is the most common age. And that is because of all of the changes in hormones during puberty. And that in combination with whatever stressors are going on in your environment, right? Any other potential co-occurring disorders. So that combination can kind of trigger that BFRB gene, let's say. So, yeah, all of the changes around puberty is the most common age. Um, that said, it can come up earlier. It certainly can pop up like as baby. There is such thing as like baby trick. It can come up, a lot like at any age, right? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? Um, 10, 11, 12. But the most common age is puberty, because of the changes of hormones. Okay. Oh, okay. Um, oh yeah, this is a big question. Yeah, how to address the emotional embarrassment, shame of hair pulling as a teen. Yeah, it is hard. It's hard because teens like want to look cool, right? Want to look good and want to impress each other, and it's really common for teens especially to compare themselves to other kids. So it is really hard. So something that could help is to make sure that you feel good, right? So do other things to help you to feel good. So for example, wearing things that you're comfortable in and that you like and that help you to feel good, right? Engaging in activities that bring you confidence, that bring you joy. That will help you to feel good, like really engaging in your interests. Like think about what your values are, and engaging in them. And then as you do that, that will help to bring up your confidence. And it will help you to feel a little bit less embarrassed because you'll kind of see how you're engaging in these other activities. Okay. Um, you know, the other aspect is it a secret? Are you hiding it? So actually, the more you're able to talk about it, if it's with family, at least to start off with family, or pick one friend that you trust, and you feel really comfortable with, or in a support group atmosphere, um, with other people who also pull their hair, is a really great way to reduce that sense of shame. So the more you talk about it, the more comfortable you get with it, and that helps with that confidence, and helps you to see that it's actually more common. It's actually not a big deal. Everyone's got something, and this just happens to be, you're something. Okay. Um, and another thing that would just help is to hopefully have supportive people around you. So supportive, if you are a parent, to make sure you are supporting your child, um, and helping them to not judge them and show that they, not judge themselves as well. Right? It is okay. They are still loved. They are still amazing. They still have all of these talents and interests. They are still beautiful. They are still smart. Right? They are still cared for. Um, so really emphasizing all of those other qualities, and not making the pulling as big a deal as you might think or feel it is. Okay. So some of those things will help with that embarrassment, and shame as a teen. Okay. Oh, you have lots of questions still. Okay. Let's see. I have noticed that I have long periods where I have no urges at all. Great, which always follows moments where I've decided to engage in a new solution, listening to a trick webinar, starting with a new therapist, starting a new book. These periods can last for months, and then the urge slowly creeps back and feel beyond my control for months to come. Is this a commonly seen, understood pattern? And is there a way to tap into that off switch more purposefully? Yeah. So, yes, this is common, right? I call them slips. They happen. And it's just, again, it's part of that process of regaining that sense of confidence and management. So, um, the more often that this happens, actually, the more it exposes you to that practice of getting back on track. And so what that means is that every time you have a slip, that period of time to get back on track is going to get faster and faster. And the times that you have slips are going to get smaller and smaller. Um, so that's kind of encouraging. I mean, it sounds like you are on your way. Right, you are on your way to managing it. And you are doing great things, listening to the webinar, start with a therapist or a new book. So really trying to be mindful of what strategies you're doing and trying to be consistent with them. So think about engaging in those strategies, not just every once in a while, but a little bit every day. Okay, so that's going to help you to kind of decrease the chances that those urges are going to pop up if you're doing strategies every day, even if you don't have urges to do a strategy, right? It's practice and it helps to kind of fend off the urges. Okay. And when you do have a slip, you are more likely to get back on track faster. Okay. So take that into consideration. But it's great that you're going through periods where you're having no urges. Very encouraging to hear. A lot of emphasis is put on being kind to yourself, talking kindly to yourself, but it often feels forced. Do you have any tips on being kind to yourself and actually meaning it? Yeah, that's a good question. You're right. Being kind to yourself is really important and being gentle. And part of that is kind of reframing your thoughts. So it takes practice and experimenting on saying different things and seeing what feels good for you. Um, the more you practice it, the more you'll actually mean it. Even if you don't quite mean it in the moment, again, just keep rewording it and experimenting, and over time you will meet it. You will mean it. So, for example, if a common thought is, I am ugly, right? So a way to be kind to yourself is to say, I feel ugly, or I feel ugly right now, or I feel like my hair is ugly right now. Or we can even change the word ugly. I feel like my hair isn't how I want it to be right now, right? Or it doesn't look as good as I would like it to be. Um, but I'm noticing, my cheekbones, and I'm really liking those today. Right? So kind of changing the focus and just thinking about how you're wording things. Okay. If you don't feel good about one aspect of yourself, think about another aspect that you do feel good about. Okay. Um, and a lot of self-care. So if you're having trouble with having kind thoughts, you could still treat yourself kindly. Put extra lotion on, take an extra long shower, right? Do some nice breathing. Okay. Do an art project, right? So doing activities that are going to feel good is another way of being kind to yourself, and showing self-care. So, I recommend that combination if you can. How would you talk to a child about what's happening? My 2-year-old currently struggles with hair pulling, and I don't know how to explain to her what's happening or how to have her more insightful. Yeah, what language to use to get her to do a skill when she doesn't want to? Do you explain to them that they shouldn't do that, or does that cause more harm? Yeah, good question. So, 2 years old, so that would be in the baby trick category. So what that means is that it's still so young, and the 2-year-old is just trying to figure out their balance and their coping skills. So when it starts this young, it's actually more likely that it's going to resolve on its own. So in the meantime, though, I would model how to manage different feelings. Right? So you want to role model that, you want to verbally express that, you want to do it together. So you don't want to tell them that they shouldn't do that. They're not going to get that, and that's just going to frustrate them more, and that they're going to be imbalanced, and then they're going to pull more. So instead, thinking about like if you're noticing it, like hold there, see if she'll let you hold her hand, massage her hand. Oh, can we would you like some lotion? Like, let's put some lotion on. Is that going to help you to feel good? Right? Or just putting words to what's going on. Is something bothering you right now? Right? Does something, are you sad? Are you bored? Are you angry? Is there just a lot going on right now? Can I get you anything? And actually getting your 2-year-old like a fidget, like, oh, or just distract them with another toy, right? Let's go play with this right now, instead, right? Or have them help you with a task, that will help to keep their hands busy. So let's like wash a dish together, right? Or let's play with Play-Doh. That's something very tactile. Let's make Play-Doh together, right? So doing different activities like that. They are not going to understand anything at 2 about what is hair pulling and why they're pulling. So it's better just to kind of help them put words to feelings and teach them about different feeling words, um, and model different things that you could do, right? Different activities to help distract them and engage them in something else. Okay. If you currently pull in one area, eyebrows, for example, and you get treated via HRT or CBT for pulling in this area, could this trigger you to stop pulling in that area and start pulling in another area, such as your scalp, for example? I'm smiling because, yes, unfortunately. So what happens is, um, urges are strong, and they want your attention. They want to be heard. So if you, figure out a way to manage one area where you're experiencing urges, it's gonna try to get your attention in another area. It is very common for it to jump around. So you might start with eyebrow pulling, and then it might go to lashes, or it might go to head hair, for example, right? So it is common for that urge to move and to shift. Um, Again, when you're getting treatment, it doesn't mean that it's going to cure it, doesn't mean it's going to make it go away. It's going to help you to manage it. So if when it pops up in another area, you could still use those skills, for the next area. Okay, so the skills are the same. Okay, but yes, it is something to be mindful of, that those urges can move around. Okay, I'm getting some thank yous. You're welcome. Are there any negative side effects of NAC, and can children age 12 take it? What's great about NAC is that it is, just an amino acid supplement. So it's got very minimal, side effects for most people. I think the most common side effect is like an upset, irritated stomach. Um, and again, if that happens, you could, change brands and see if a different brand has that same effect. But right now, that's kind of the most, negative effect. And yes, it is safe for children to take as well. Again, it's just, amino acid, to help with the glutamate levels. So, but again, if you're concerned, make sure you consult with, doctor, a pharmacist, psychiatrist. But NAC is safe for children. I leave these webinars with such hope and feel better about trying to help my 14-year-old. Yay, thank you so much. Yay, you're welcome. Great. I'm glad that these are so helpful. Yeah, keep coming, keep asking questions. And if you think of anything when we don't have a webinar, email us, right? Our email is support@trichstop.com. Is the therapist on TrichStop free or sliding scale? Therapists who are BFRB, my insurance doesn't accept. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a really good point. So, a lot of therapists who specialize in BFRB do not take insurance, because it is such a specialty. So And insurance also does not cover TrichStop, but if you ask the administrators, I think that they can provide you with some kind of itemized thing. So maybe you can get reimbursement. Um, but yes, there are sliding scales for TrichStop. If you just, I mean, you can email support at trichstop.com, or you can just start the process and you can kind of see, and it will guide you through the process. So it could show you what your price options are. Okay, so they do try to make it affordable and accessible. Okay. Are BFRBs hereditary? I suspect my father had trick and my son is starting to pick his skin. What's the first step I can take to address this with multiple generations? Yep. So if you missed it in the beginning, again, one of the most one of the common causes, right, is that genetic predisposition. So that means that yes, it is inherited. Yes, it is most likely somewhere within the family, somewhere within the generations. Um, if you have a BFRB, it does not mean that your child is going to get a BFRB, but it does increase their chances. So yes, there is a large hereditary component. So what is the first step that you can take to address this? Again, awareness. Okay, awareness, I would say, is number one. You're aware that there's that genetic risk factor. So you are aware, you are starting to see some signs. So as soon as you start to see signs, you can start to talk about it, start to address it with your, I think you said your son. Yeah, just start talking about it. Ask him, what's going on? How's he feeling? Ask him, is he, feeling overwhelmed? Is he feeling underwhelmed or bored? And is this something that bothers him? Is this something he wants to work on? Right. And it has a name. Right, you think that he's starting to show signs of this and it has a name, and here are resources if you're interested. And again, it depends on his age. Um, yeah, so just having that awareness and being there as a support is a great start. Um, if he does not want to do anything about it, then there's nothing to really do about it. But if it's starting to bother him, then you can start looking at resources and seeing what interests him. Okay. More of a comment than a question, but I think it's worth, asking ChatGPT to summarize the evidence for and against the efficacy of NAC in trick before deciding whether to invest. Sure. Give it a try. I'm curious what ChatGPT will say. Um, I would not put all your cards in Chat GBT. However, I think if it is something you're considering, do still consult with your doctor. Um, but that's a great place to start. Why not? Why not? Mhm. Oh, did not work for me on Amazon in Canada. I will try the therapy shop. Okay. Oh, okay. That's frustrating that it didn't that Amazon didn't work for you in Canada. Yeah, try the therapy shop. Um, and see if that works. Okay. Yeah. And if that doesn't work, again, email us support at trichstop.com and maybe we can find some other site that could work. Um, oh, actually, there's also there is a BFRB Canadian support network. If you Google that, uh, BFRB Canada support network, I believe there is a support group in Canada. So whether or not you join it or not, you could still reach out to them. And that would be a great question to ask them because they will know. They will know and they will have great resources of where you can shop for fidgets. So yeah, just Google BFRB Canada or Canadian. I think it's actually called a Canadian network, BFRB Canadian network. Um, yeah, and they should be able to help as well. What are your thoughts on hair pulling being related to low vitamin D levels? Um, I don't think that it's related. I don't think there's enough research about that, for anything to be really conclusive. Having low vitamin D is also really common. I think most people have low vitamin D. So again, I don't think there's much relation. Um, but in general, just making sure that your vitamin levels are balanced. So making sure you do go to your doctor annually, make sure you get your blood work. If you need to take multivitamins, please do that. Because yeah, it could affect all of the imbalances in the body. Um, but I do not believe there's any research specifically that is addressing low vitamin D levels in particular. Okay. 36-year-old daughter has been pulling her hair since junior high. She has mild developmental delays and reads around a fourth grade level. I'm wondering if she will be able to communicate her texts well. Um, you know, if I'm not sure what you mean. I'm wondering if she will be able to communicate her texts well. So if you have a child, but their development is lower, if you have an older child, but their development is, I'm sorry, younger, and they have trouble understanding things, that's an opportunity for you to really help and support them. So, for example, I might, in this situation, recommend the parent program for you. So TrichStop does have a parent program. So that's when the parent goes through the information and the resources, and in that way, you would then be like the teacher for your daughter, and try to help her understand the information. Okay, so you would be working with your daughter. So even though she's 36 and could be in the adult program, you might like if her developmental level is lower, like a fourth grade level, you might want to consider the parent program. Or if she's joining the regular program, um, you would just be doing it with her if she's okay with that to help with the level of understanding. If she has questions, you can just do it together in the regular program. Okay. So in this situation, in general, no matter where you're getting treatment, wherever she's getting treatment, just a lot of involvement will be helpful on the parent side. Have you ever suffered with trick yourself and or lived experience, or has this been an area you have been interested in? Yeah, good question. I smile a little bit. Um, because if you look me up on TrichStop.com and you read my therapist profile, you will see that yes, I have Trick as well. So I have lived with Trick, same thing, started at age like 13, 14. So I have lots of lived experience. Um, and it was never an area that I thought I would wind up being a therapist in, and it just kind of happened. It just felt natural to go in that direction. So that's why I feel like I can answer lots of questions. So I have the perspective of both someone with trick and someone who is a therapist. So both sides, which is very helpful. Okay, good question. My 13-year-old daughter uses a root coverage spray. Is that okay to use? Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. There's a lot of sprays and powders and crayons to use to help with some of those spots. Um, the only thing is that they come off. They can come off easily. So like they come off like on her fingers or in the shower, and it's kind of like yucky when it comes off in the shower. Sometimes it comes off on clothes. But besides that, they're fine. They're fine to use. There are all sorts of different kinds and different brands. Okay. Um, Whether or not you decide to use a spray or like a crayon or a powder, that's up to you. Whatever she's most comfortable with, I would say. Oh, we're at 1 o'clock. Okay, let me see how many questions we have. Oh, we have a lot more questions. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. Keep going a little bit longer. Again, I'm gonna try to answer as many questions as possible. Uh, can the same be said about hormones contributing to trick? I only started trick about 6 years ago, so maybe menopausal hormones. I did have skin picking problem when I was young, a young teen, and bit the skin around my fingernails till I was about 50. Yeah, so skin picking and picking and biting the skin around fingernails, that's a BFRB. So it sounds like it's been going on since you were a teen, but the hair pulling part has emerged just, recently within the last 6 years. Yes, so it is related to hormones. So it kind of generally most often starts around puberty. So same thing. Every time for women who get their period, that affects your urges, before, during, and after your period. Pregnancy, right? That will affect your urges as well, and during pregnancy and post as well. And yes, menopause as well. So, yep, hormones do play a factor. How can I reassure and let my child know this isn't a freakish behavior, but can be normal that others experience this too? Yeah. Um, so again, just kind of reassuring them that this is okay. You're okay. It doesn't mean you're a freak, doesn't mean you're weird. Everyone's got something. And I know it's really frustrating, and it can be really embarrassing, but you don't need to be embarrassed by it. And it's okay, and we're going to figure it out. Um, and let's help you to feel more comfortable. What will help you to feel more comfortable, right? What will help you to feel more confident? How can I help you? Right? Let's practice some strategies together, right? Right. This is a real, and just reminding them this is a really hard thing to try to manage, and that's okay. And let's practice. Let's use some fidgets together, right? Um, give lots of hugs, lots of kisses, make sure they know that they're supported, that they're loved, and don't treat them any differently. I think that's really important too. Let them be a child. Yeah, encourage them to do all of the activities that they want to do, right? Don't make them feel like they have to cover anything up. Whatever they're comfortable with, go with that. Okay. Um, and again, seeing if you can try to get the child to meet, depending on their age, to meet other people that have this too. Take a look to see if there are any children's support groups. So, for example, the TLC Foundation did do a children virtual support group. So, if they're still doing that, that could be a good resource as well. Okay. Uh, oh, good. This is a follow-up question. Um, I asked someone to clarify their question, so this is the clarification. So, high DHEAS is a steroid hormone, and testosterone has been found in blood work. Exploring if she has PCOS. Do you know if these two often occur? Um, so again, I don't know too much about this. Um, but again, just because someone has PCOS does not mean that you're going to also have a BFRB. Um, but yeah, if it's hormone related, yes, it could impact, one could impact the other. Um, I don't know how often the two occur. I would have to look that up. Um, but I do know that you're definitely not the only one, right? There everyone's got something. Um, and everyone's got something. Well, not necessarily. Some people have co-occurring disorders and some people don't. Um, but those that do, it could be co-occurring with really anything. Um, so that's why I say that you're not the only one, but how common is it that I do not know? We'll have to look it up. Or if you find the answer, let me know. So I'll know for next time. Okay. Thank you so much for being so thorough and helpful with this webinar. Oh, you're welcome. Can you tell us how you have found peace with this? And what you found helpful? So, like everyone, there's good days and bad days. And I think what has helped to find peace is really just living your life, right? Don't let it interfere. It does not define you. Do the things that you love, engage in your interests, have fun, be social, go for your goals, right? So the more that you're able to do the things that you love and live your life, wear what you want to wear, right? Do what you want to do. Um, that helps you to move forward, that helps you to feel good. And that actually winds up decreasing urges, right? When you're just living your life and doing what you love, and the more the better you feel, the more likely urges will be lower. Okay. So I would say that that has been really helpful. And I would say community. Finding your community, finding your supports, whether it's someone else who has a BFRB, um, or just someone else who you feel comfortable talking to, so you can talk about it to someone. So feeling supported and having a community goes a really long way. Okay. All right. How are we doing on time? Uh, someone said they gave up on their NAC, but they're gonna try it again. Great. Yeah, give it a go. Give it a go. I think this is a repeat question. Any tips for coping as an adult who was criticized by a parent for hair pulling as a teen, and has hidden it from everyone since then? Oh, good question. Yeah, that's really tough because you have to kind of change your way of thinking because how you were raised like impacted how you feel about yourself now. So, it's gonna take work. You have to really be mindful of what you're telling yourself. What are those thoughts that you have in your head, and how can you reframe that? Okay, how could you feel more confident? How can you remind yourself that what your parent told you as a teen is not true, is not accurate? What I don't know what they said to you, but parents tend to panic, right? They tend to panic. They tend to um, worry about their child, right? They want the best for their children. And they feel bad when there's something that's going on that they can't help, can't control. So and especially depending on when this was, parents didn't have a lot of information back in the day. There's more and more information now. People are a lot more knowledgeable, so it's a lot more helpful now. But before, parents didn't know. So when they didn't know, right, they're more likely to criticize. So luckily, there's a lot more knowledge and education out there now, so it's a little bit better. Um, but it's about being gentle with yourself. I'm going to really emphasize that being gentle with yourself and reminding yourself that what happened as a child um, is in the past. It happened already. That is not who you are. It is okay. You are okay. And find your truth now. Find the truth now. Okay. Find people who are supportive now. Okay. See if you could spread education, right? Spread your knowledge to help others. Um, oh, okay. Yeah, I think I can finish these questions. Um, do you know if eating a lot of protein has been shown to help with symptoms? Protein is such a thing right now. Yeah. You know, there is um there are some people who specialize in trick and nutrition. So if you kind of search for trick and nutrition, you'll find some articles and you might find some people. I think there's someone called the Tricky Nutritionist or something, who you might be interested in looking into. Um, but as far as I know, with research is no, that I don't think that there's a significant. I don't think there's enough research, first of all, but I don't think there's a significant difference of effects of protein. The research right now really focuses on glutamate levels. So anything that might affect the glutamate levels in the diet could affect urges. But as far as I know, protein, I'm not sure. I mean, I don't think so, but again, you might want to look into Google Trick and Nutrition and see what you can come up with. Um, but yeah, as far as I know, no, no, but glutamate, yes. Um, someone's asking any recommended movies. This is a fun question. There are some documentaries, specifically about trick. Um, I have one, but I have to stand up and go get it because I don't remember the title of it. But there are some documentaries about trick. There is a one man show about trick, which I highly recommend. That's by Becca Schneider, I believe, is the actress who does the one man show. I definitely recommend that. Um, you might not know, but Amy Schumer has Trick, and she put out a movie. Again, I forgot the title of it. And it's basically about her life, and it's really interesting, and she mentions Trick in it. So check that out. Yeah. Um, Yeah, this is a good question. I used to have it written down somewhere and I don't know where I wrote it down. But how long has TrichStop been around and approximately how many clients do you help each year? Um, so TrichStop definitely has those statistics. Again, I had it written down, but not in front of me. But that's very easy to find out. So just email support@trichstop.com, and they can get you those statistics. It's been around for a while. Um, and the number of clients, they have a percentage of like a, success rate. Um, do I have it on this sheet on this here? I don't, let me see. No, I do not have the statistics written out in front of me. Yeah, but they're there and they're accessible. So just email support@trichstop.com, and they can answer that question for you. Okay. It's a really great resource besides, these free webinars, which are quite often. They have a lot of resources, they have a blog, the website, the newsletter. It's a lot of information. And then, of course, the registered clients, participants every year. And it's great because it's global, helps everyone around the world at any time, right? Your therapist will answer you within 24 hours. So it's really great. So definitely email them and something to consider if it's a right fit for you. Okay. You're welcome. I'm seeing some thank yous here. You're welcome. Hope this was helpful. If there aren't any other questions, we are going to wrap up. But if other questions come to you later on, again, please email support@trichstop.com. We will be doing this again. Um, Again, it's about every other month, so keep an eye out for the next one. And stay well. Happy New Year. And we are here for you. And we are a big, great, loving community. Um, you are not alone. And good luck. You got this. All right. Take care, everyone. Thank you.